I want to start with just the people yesterday who I guess were asking questions of the FBI agent Hur that was the guy who wrote the report about Joe Biden and his records and whether he committed a crime or not, and why he should be prosecuted or not prosecuted. Okay. First, let me start with Jim Jordan, the cut we just played from Jim Jordan.
Mr. Hur, why did he do it? Why did Joe Biden, in your words, willfully retain and disclose classified materials? I mean, he knew the law. I think you told us, Mr. Hur. Page 231, you said this. President Biden had strong motivations. That's a key word. We're getting to motive now. President Biden had strong motivations to ignore the proper procedures for safeguarding the classified information in his notebooks. Why did he have strong motivations? Because, next word, because he decided months before leaving office to write a book. To write a book. That was his motive. Mr. Hur, how much did President Biden get paid for his book?
It may be $8 million. If
$8 million. Joe Biden had 8 million reasons to break the rules. Took classified information and shared it with the guy who was writing the book. And the next thing you say in your report is, quote, such a record would buttress his legacy as a world leader. You know what this is? It wasn't just the money. It wasn't just $8 million. It was also his ego. Pride and money is why he knowingly violated the rules.
Okay. Now, what was Trump in trouble for? What was the big argument that Trump was releasing this classified information that he had on files? Do you remember what it was? He said something to somebody. He was talking to a reporter.
Right, yeah, it was a biographer, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And what happened?
He was talking about plans of Iran.
He said, and if people only knew, I mean, look, it's right here.
Yeah, and he said, someone, was it Milley, wanted to invade Iran or something to that effect.
And so he's holding up a document. This is what's alleged. We don't know. Mm-hmm. But what's alleged is that he held up a document and said, look, here it is. Here's proof of it. Didn't hand it to the reporter. Didn't read it to the reporter. Didn't send it to the reporter. He just said, it's right here. Okay? That's why Donald Trump has got to go to prison. Now, what did Joe Biden do with all of these documents? Well, you just heard he was paid $8 million. He was holding on to them so he could show that what he did as vice president and make sure that he looked good. That would be pretty much the same charge, except without the $8 million, right? Except Donald Trump allegedly only held the document up. Listen to, cut 12. Cut 12.
Biden, this is a quote, Joe Biden risked serious damage to America's national security when he shared information with his ghostwriter. Shared it with his ghostwriter, the guy who was helping Joe Biden get $8 million. And oh, by the way, Mr. Hur, what did that ghostwriter do with the information Joe Biden shared with him on his laptop? What did he do after you were named special counsel?
Chairman, if you're referring to the audio recordings that Mr. Zwanitzer created of his conversations with
exactly
Mr. Biden,
what I'm referring to.
He slid, if I remember correctly, he slid those files into his recycle bin on his computer.
Tried to destroy the evidence, didn't he?
Correct.
The very guy who was helping Joe Biden get the $8 million, Joe Biden used the motive for Joe Biden to disclose classified information, to retain classified information, which he definitely knew was against the law.
Okay. So we've established already, because of Hunter Biden's records, that Joe Biden will sell America out. It's just a matter of price and negotiation. Here we have $8 million. Now, if you're not offended by that, if you don't think that that's bad, what he did, then you cannot go after Donald Trump. Donald Trump didn't share the information. Joe Biden talked openly about it, apparently either sent or showed the documents, okay? So one way or another, it's pretty much the same thing, except the guy who had the information, the reporter, unlike the reporter with Donald Trump. He didn't try to hide anything. He didn't try to destroy his records. As soon as the special investigation started on Joe Biden and this guy was appointed, what happened? The reporter tried to get rid of all of the evidence. That's obstruction of justice. Now they say Donald Trump tried to obstruct justice. Great. So what do we have here? What do we have here? We have the same exact charges, one motivated by money, and I think the other one motivated by, I've been screwed and I've got all of this evidence here that shows that it's them, not me. Both of them are wrong. One has some righteous indignation to it. The other is just money. But both of them are against the law, right? Here's why our country cannot function anymore. There is no principle or value to truth. None. The truth only matters when it's convenient. And you could say that about both sides. I mean, that's the case. Both of them did the same thing. Different motivations, but both of them did the same thing. How many on the right would be absolutely fine with a conviction on Trump doing it if Joe Biden received the exact same conviction and punishment? I would be. If it's a crime, everybody should be treated exactly the same. Now, the reason why this special prosecutor didn't say that it was a crime, or no, I didn't say that, decided not to prosecute, is because it is his job. Do I waste all this money or not? Is it likely to end in a conviction? And he said, no, it wouldn't. Because the jury would most likely hear him and see him as a really nice old man who's just kind of befuddled at times. Do you think that the jury in D.C. would see it any other way? Because I don't. I'd like to see the prosecution, but you know that it wouldn't end in anything. But should he go through it? Yeah, I do think he should. We don't give any special benefits for people because of their age, usually. If they're incompetent, then he should be declared incompetent to serve as president. If he's not capable of testifying, then he shouldn't be capable of doing his job. Of course, then again, maybe that's why the Democrats selected Joe Biden. Because it's just Joe. We all know Joe. He's been around for a long time. And so people will just give him the benefit of the doubt. Oh, I think that's absolutely why he was selected. He's going to return us to normal. You know him. He's just a union Democrat, but he's an old-time Democrat. They knew that he was a doddering old fool, that they would be running the White House, so it was good for them. He'd do what he was told, and America would give him a lot of rope. And here's America giving him a lot of rope again. I want to show you how corrupt things are. I want you to play, let's see, cut. Hang on, sorry. This is such an amazing piece. Cut 5.
So this lengthy, expensive, and independent investigation resulted in a complete exoneration of President Joe Biden. For every document you discussed in your report, you found insufficient evidence that the president violated any laws about possession or retention of classified materials.
I need to go back and make sure that I take note of a word that you used, exoneration. That is not a word that
I'm
appears
going
in
to
the
continue
report,
with
and
my
that's not part of my
questions.
task as a
I'm going to
prosecutor.
continue with my questions. I know that the term
I ultimately reached
I know
related
that
to whether
the term
sufficient evidence existed such that the likely
You didn't-
outcome
you
would
exonerated
be a
him.
conviction.
I know that
did
the
not
term
exonerate him.
willful
That word does not appear in
retention
the
has a
report, Congresswoman.
Mr. Hur, it's my time. Thank you.
When is it the witness's time? When is it the witness's time? Everybody does this every time. Every time. They just filibuster. And this is the worst I've seen. The filibuster that she's doing, she's not asking him a question and then not allowing him to answer. She is making a statement formed as a question that is inaccurate. You exonerated him. No, I didn't exonerate him. So everything after that should be dismissed. He did not exonerate, but we don't care about principles, values, or truth. And when the government, when the body that is elected to protect the Constitution, which is why are governments established among men? To protect the rights of the people. When the government doesn't recognize those rights, when it no longer recognizes the truth that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, it doesn't matter. We'll never agree. Let me play one more. Cut 6.
You are a member
whatsoever in my work.
You are a
My
member
work
of the
was
Federalist
independent
Society, are you not?
And fair.
Are you a member of the Federalist Society?
I am not a member of the Federalist Society.
But you are a Republican, though, aren't you?
I am a registered Republican.
Yes, sir. And
Okay,
you're doing
stop for a second. What's the Federalist Societies do?
People who actually look at the Constitution and occasionally
Are
think
you a member of the Federalist Society? Do you mean the society that is built to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States? No, I mean the Federalist Society. No, but that's what they do. It's an accusation. It's a smear to say he's part of a society, which he claims he's not. I'm sure he's not. Why would you deny that you were a member of the Federalist Society?
Right, it's a very highly respected institution.
He's saying to him, do you believe in the Constitution as written? That's the charge. Then he goes on and says, but you'll admit that you're a Republican. Since when is that a crime? Now, to lighten things up, I just want to remind you who Hank Johnson really is.
Very small island and about 24 miles, if I recall, long.
Guam.
So 24 miles long, about 7 miles wide at the least widest place on the island, and about 12 miles wide. My fear is that the whole island will become so overly populated that it will tip over and capsize.
We don't anticipate that.
Putting too many Marines on Guam, it could capsize the island. And he thought it through. That's who is the defender of truth yesterday.